Hi, friends. So, welcome to another exciting learning episode of Moonshot Conversations. In our last conversation with the emotionally and spiritually evolved Simon, we introduced brainwave frequencies. Now, what each one of these frequencies mean, when you are most likely to experience each one of these frequencies, how you can access your theta state, which is your doorway to the subconscious, and can help you in reprogramming any patterns or wounds that are not helping you currently. Its connection to spiritual consciousness and why it is important to experience all frequencies and to be in balance. Friends, we spoke about brainwave frequencies and brainwave entrainment, which involves listening to sound that can directly influence your brainwave frequency. If any one of you missed the episode, you can access it again. And also, the journal reinforces all the understanding.
Hi everyone. So today we go to what would naturally come next. As to affect brain waves through entrainment, we use sound. Just think of this in a simple context. And I have a house by the sea, and there's a reason why we all love being by the sea. As the waves come in and the waves go out, from what we see and what we hear, our brains actually begin to change their frequency to that of the external sound of the waves. This automatically starts bringing balance and calm to our breathing and allows our endocrine system to release powerful healing hormones such as endorphins, serotonin, and melatonin into our body. This is why people love spending time at the beach, why spending time at the beach is so relaxing. It allows us to relax deeply and triggers our body's healing response. This is something that works similar to brain entrainment.
Mhm.
Basically, our brains will automatically resonate with the vibrations that come through our ears. So we match the vibration of the sound of the waves. This is the brain entrainment without the use of technology, something that ancient cultures have known all along and been using for thousands of years. Now science is finally catching up. But we don't need science to tell us, because we all know that music and sound have a tremendous impact on us. A sound or sounds can take us down memory lane, can instantly lift or dampen our mood.
Fantastic. Yes. In fact, after Simon spoke, I have been experimenting with brainwave frequencies. I want to repeat what you advised, that while children are young, you should take a doctor's approval to use entrainment. And if you're an adult, you should not experiment with brainwave entrainment if you're epileptic or have any existing medical condition. We could, however, teach children about the effect of sound. How could we help children understand this power of sound, Lina?
So as a family, we can do so many things to have them understand. When I was running schools in our instructional design, we'd build it in. Bring this awareness to children. We'd ask them to watch how sound and music is used in film, for example, to evoke emotions of sadness, curiosity, happiness, fear, suspense. By first watching it with the sound, then without, then with, then without, then with, and this way, children understand how music and sounds affects our emotional state, how it
Yes.
intensifies anything we feel. You can give your children painted paper and ask them to express how different music feels and express this. We've put it all, and we've put so many activities in the journal. Having them do this and connect, that depending on your emotional state, you express and you create differently, and how much sound impacts that.
Oh, this seems like such a great way to have children understanding power of the sound. So, in what context are we discussing sound today, Lina? And in what way are we defining sound?
So when we teach children about sound in social studies, we teach them like, what is sound? Sound is a source of energy that exists within the earth. We live in a vibrating universe. The earth, the sea, the plants, the animals, and human beings, we all have vibrations.
Understood. So, all of Earth and space consist of vibrating energy that causes sounds. If that is sound, how do we define music, Lina?
So music is just how you put the sounds together. It's the human spirit that sets human beings apart from the rest of creation. Human beings can organize the sounds that exist within the earth and create music out of them. Music is the essence of humanness. That is why music can be so beautiful and so powerful. It comes from the heart. It's the song of the soul. Music is what we call it when we give meaning to the sounds just by organizing them. It's a relationship between sounds that gives them meaning. It is this organization that turns sound to music.
So, come to think of it, all human beings have inside themselves a musical self, no matter where they live or which culture they come from. And so many individuals connect dots to create the actual experience of music. The composer who writes music tries to find ways to express the sound
Yeah.
he hears within himself, and the performer brings the music to the listener.
But don't forget, in this circle is also the person who listens to the music, because without the listener, the entire experience would be incomplete. Yeah. So the listener has two kinds of listening. There's an external form of listening and an internal. External listening occurs when when the listener opens the door to his heart
Mhm.
and allows the tones and rhythms to vibrate into his inner private world. In this way, music has the capacity to create new forms and new energy fields.
Okay, so external listening is the movement of music directed from the outside to the inside. Even without using technology, I understand that music played at a rock concert creates a very different energy field to music played in a church.
For sure. So, in order to allow this listening to take place, one needs to be open to receive the music without
Mhm.
any judgment or any preconceived ideas. This means being fully in the present moment, receiving the music on a moment to moment basis. It also requires total concentration and attention to the music. So, by that, I mean, we need to learn to be fully with the music. One
Okay.
of the most powerful TED talks I have watched, and it's in the journal,
Mhm.
is by Benjamin Zander, and
Mhm.
it's called the transformative power of classical music. If you
Mhm.
want to see how music can push you over, you
Okay.
must watch it. The link is in your journal, and
Mhm.
watch it from a point of view of, in very many different ways, how it shifts your mindset, understand the power of language and conviction and leadership, and mindfulness and mind wandering, and the immense power that music can have.
Fantastic. Friends, the music can actually push you over. I did the journal this afternoon and I love the TED talk, especially the story of the boy whose brother died and that he could finally access his pain and cry after hearing the music. Wow. I also love the leadership message. The conductor does not make a sound. His job is to awaken possibility in others to make those sounds. So that is music coming from outside to the inside. And then what is internal listening, Lena? Can you explain that?
So, internal listening is tuning into one's own inner sounds and rhythms.
Okay. Mhm.
It's the listening to inner messages that come from within the self, messages that contain harmonious as well as disharmonious chords, agreements and disagreements. It is to be with oneself, to fully experience oneself on various levels. That is inner
Mhm.
listening. In order to do this kind of listening, one has to be still, to let the mind rest, and
Mhm.
stay passive in order to activate the deeper states of being. So internal listening, Agnelorajesh, can be seen as a movement that takes place only inwardly, without letting the outside world interfere. So the process of meditation that's an example of this kind of listening, inner listening.
Okay. So, Lena, can you talk to me more about the power of music and sound?
Yeah. So sound and music, and I include music and sounds made by humans, without any instruments, right? So even our vocal cords make sound. They're all extremely powerful. Many therapists and doctors use music therapy as a part of treatment. And in fact, I read, 3 books on sound and healing. In music therapy or entrainment, they want both kinds of listening to occur, the healers. The external listening actually awakens the inner listening, like the little boy, the journal you read, something
Mhm.
from outside awakened his inside.
Mhm.
And when he heard the music, that's when he was
Yes.
finally able to awaken his inner listening,
Yes.
access his pain, feel it, and cry.
Yes. Yes. And I remember the importance of allowing ourselves to feel our emotional states rather than burying them or not acknowledging them. These buried emotional states are what cause most of our diseases and illnesses in the first place.
Agnelorajesh, I interviewed last week a gorgeous woman named Laila El Kadri, and she's going to come on a Moonshot conversation. And she says it so simply and so beautifully. She says, get the issue out of the tissue.
Wow.
And I thought that was basically. So we basically want to heal any stored memories residing inside ourselves, in our tissue that could cause cancer or any other
Yes.
disease.
Yes.
When a client or patient allows with healers to for external and internal listening both, a
Mhm.
new inner state of being is created. So therapists use all sorts of technology as basic as Tibetan singing bowls, drumming, tuning forks, all these things to do this.
Okay, so is there any science to back up the power of music and sound, Lina?
So yes, while the spiritual world has known this for a very long time,
Mhm.
as we keep saying, science is starting to back this power up. Even the chanting of the word Om, which was developed basically when we had no technology, I guess, it's recognized today as a powerful tool for healing, and
Mhm.
this is also being accepted by the scientific community now. The sound is known to exert an influence or an effect through vibrations, and vibrations that resonate on specific parts of our body. Today using modern technology such as sound spectrum analysis and brain imaging technology,
Mhm.
what is found that after periods of chanting, there's an
Mhm.
increased connection between the breath and the mind, and we've already spoken about how many benefits that has.
So while brainwave entrainment should not be used if you have epilepsy, there should be no harm in chanting Om, right?
Not only I mean, there's no harm in chanting Om,
Mhm.
no matter what your medical status, or any other sounds using sound bowls. Not only is there no harm in sounding Om, it is shown to be effective in actually the treatment of epilepsy as well as depression. And it has scientifically measured benefits, such as lowering high blood pressure. So other effects improve concentration. What else? And a reduction in stress levels.
Mhm.
Uh, in fact, an observation of brain nerve stimulation used in
Mhm.
epilepsy and depression therapy
Mhm.
shows that the same brain structures involved in a relaxation response are activated in the brain, during chanting. It actually reduces adrenaline, which we know is associated with stress. Um, so what's that? We should all be doing it.
Wow, wow. So much in one sound. To think that this sound has been chanted for thousands of years and now modern science agrees to its therapeutic and psychological benefits. Another sign that science and spirituality are absolutely closing the gap, Lina.
So the understanding of the power of music and sound is both spiritual and scientific.
Mhm.
We are coming to an understanding of energy. Everything is in a state of vibration, Agnelorajesh. Everything is frequency. I mean, we know today sound can change molecular structure, it can create form. We realize the potential of sonic energy. We understand that virtually anything can be accomplished through vibration. So
Mhm.
sounds can resonate with our body, our brain, and our aura, our human energy fields.
Mhm.
We can change our vibrational state through our own self-generating sounds using our own voice. These
Okay.
sacred sounds made with a specific intention and with the energy of love can interface with the different planes of human consciousness.
Mhm.
They can invoke and evoke different levels of awareness. So, and this is particularly true when sounds are made with conscious intention in a group. That's why people do things like satsangs or choral
Yes.
singing in a
Yes.
church.
Mhm.
This is why people find spiritual singing across beliefs very moving and very, very powerful.
So, music and sound has been used throughout history across beliefs and cultures. And while we may have felt that it shifts something within us, now science can confirm this, right, Lina?
So imagine, that in the ancient mystery schools of Egypt, Rome, Greece, Tibet, India, and all other centers that were known as centers of learning, knowledge and sound was understood back then. I mean, based on an understanding of vibration as the primary causative form of the universe. Many of the great scientists of ancient times, such as Pythagoras, that Simone spoke about as well, they
Mhm.
understood this. Their wisdom stemmed from an understanding of the universe and the spirit, and that the spirit, scientific and the spiritual, can become one. The ancients seem to know this. That
Mhm.
everything in the universe is in a state of vibration. Agnelorajesh, the chair you're sitting on, is
Mhm.
in a state of vibration.
Okay. Fantastic. So all matter is in a state of vibration. The chair, you, me, the walls of my house,
Yes,
everything.
yes. And Einstein understood this. He said everything in life is vibration, everything
Mhm.
is energy. All things in the universe are constantly in motion, constantly vibrating. Even objects that appear stationary, like your chair and the table, are vibrating. And we use the word resonance as the frequency at which an object most naturally vibrates. So everything has resonant frequency, whether or not we can, actually hear it. From the orbits of the planet around the sun to
Mhm.
movement of the electrons around atoms, everything is vibrating.
Mhm.
It's also important to understand that in alignment with this concept of sound, every organ, bone, and tissue in your body, Agnelorajesh, has its own separate resonant frequency.
Fantastic. So let me summarize this so far, Lina. Our body is in a state of vibration, as are our brainwave frequencies. And this frequency can be changed through sound. This is what we discussed, right, Lina? I feel
Yes.
this is known as entrainment and involves the ability of the powerful rhythmic vibrations of one object to change the vibrations of another object and cause them to synchronize their rhythms with the first object. Through
Yes,
sound, it is possible to change the rhythms of our brain waves as well as our heartbeat and respiration. This sound, friends, can be the human voice, it can be the sound bowls, it can be the music, the brainwave entrainment, drumming. What about when someone shatters glass using their voice, Lina? What is that?
a trick. No. so So we all know, we've all seen, right, that human voice can shatter a glass.
Mhm.
Every object has a resonant frequency, including a glass. So this is the natural frequency at which something vibrates. So to shatter a glass, the human voice has to match the frequency or the pitch of the glass. And
Okay.
then what happens is that the voice of the singer is able to match the resonant frequency of the glass, and that sets that glass into vibration. Then using too much sound energy and over amplifying the glass, it breaks. But just as sound, as we see in this instance, can be used to destroy, it can
Yes.
also be used to heal and transform.
Wow. So this makes sense. So as sound can be used to destroy, it can also be used to heal and transform. Just as it is possible to set an object into its own natural motion, friends, through resonance. So it is possible to restore the natural vibratory frequencies of an object that may be out of tune or harmony. If I'm correct on that, Lina.
Exactly. So, exactly. You are a perfect student at Rajesh. So, our ancient cultures knew this, right? That the use of music in sacred ceremonies, in shamanic rituals, it's occurred since ancient times.
Mhm.
It has been recently verified that that the sound can be used to affect and change our brain waves. The changing of these rates creates changes in our consciousness, and it sort of allows mystically altered brain states to occur. So you can almost get high on music. These principles of using resonance and entrainment are the fundamental concepts that regardless of the tradition, belief system, or culture, we all know that forever we've used, in any belief, in any culture, we've used sound to heal and transform.
Yes.
Uh, and many times those utilizing these sounds for spiritual purposes may not have been aware of them.
Mhm.
Or intuitively were aware of them, but examination of these practices, from the Hindu use of mantras to the shamanic use of chanting and drumming, reveals a commonality in the principles of resonance and entrainment. That's the basic basis of sonic transformation and healing.
Wow.
Um, Shamanic drumming has the ability to profoundly alter brain states.
So what about modern day music, Lina?
So even when we hear something as recent as house music, right?
Mhm.
It does have an effect on our brains and our bodies. When you hear a song, all four lobes of your brain react. Memories, emotions, thoughts, and movement are all impacted. So your brain processes the tone, pitch, and volume of the music in the auditory cortex, and it sends this information to the rest of the brain. And
Okay.
when this information gets to the amygdala, you know, usually the seat
Yes.
of fear, your
Yes.
amygdala actually releases dopamine. And this chemical is behind the reward, pleasure, and motivation. So ambient sound unlike what we thought, it can actually help you focus. The repetitive patterns are unobtrusive yet stimulating, and it helps concentration without distracting you.
So basically, you're saying the next time my kids are playing music and doing their homework, I should let them be.
Absolutely. So in fact, I let my son do it. In fact, ambient house can help you focus. Even if you look at drumming, you have two hemispheres of your brain, the left and the right, and mostly these operate at different levels and at different rates, and we're still kind of finding out about all of this. But the very nature of drumming with its constant rhythm permeates the entire brain, bringing both hemispheres into rhythmic balance. Um,
Mhm,
so this balance brings with it brain integration and deep healing. So just
mhm,
listening to music is so powerful. And learning to play an instrument, any musical instrument, is even more
mhm,
powerful. It actually use both sides of your brain,
mhm.
which strengthens brain power. This includes spatial reasoning, literacy, memory, the whole lot. So to such an extent that as a teacher in the new school that we created, Agnelorajesh, the only thing that will be compulsory will be
Mhm.
learning to play a musical instrument.
Wow. So come to think of it, our relationship with sound and rhythm would have begun in the womb. Perhaps the very first sound everyone on earth could have heard was the sound of their mother's heartbeat.
Absolutely. So a fetus starts to hear it at about 24 weeks of gestation. At this time, a fetus normally hears mostly low frequency sounds. Like you
Mhm.
said, the mother's heartbeat, as well as the melody and rhythm of her voice. Music exposure to a baby in the womb is helpful as well. A lot of work being done on that. Listening and experiencing music stimulates a fetus's brain and assists with the growth of brain structures. In fact, studies suggest that the music that you play for your baby in your baby will remember for up to 4 months after they're born.
Wow. So corroboree, the Aboriginal language, means a sacred gathering, Lina. So was music used by the indigenous Australians as well?
Absolutely. The Aboriginal people utilize a form of harmonics in their sacred ceremonies that is not created from their voice, but from an instrument. So the didgeridoo, it's a hollowed out tree limb, which you kind of blow into it to produce a very low fundamental tone. The sound is very similar to the one chord of the ancient Tibetan monks. And it's in your journal as well, guys. So the basic sounds of the didgeridoo are very simple to achieve, or quite simple to achieve. I didn't do it the first time around, but one simply breathes out while vibrating the lips.
Mhm,
And one of the primary ingredients in the sounding of this instrument is the ability to do circular breathing.
mhm.
So circular breathing is a very advanced technique that requires the breather to let a continuous flow of air. So you're taking in breath through your nose while continuing to exhale through the mouth. And
Oh,
a lot of yoga kind of does similar exercises. So it's quite a complicated technique, but interestingly, it was also developed in Tibet, just differently. So even
mhm.
without the exquisite sound of the didgeridoo, circular breathing creates a very altered state of consciousness in the person who's practicing the technique.
So, friends, there is a link in your journal to healing didgeridoo music. As our Korobri knows, I do journal every Sunday just before we start the show. The benefits I have had are phenomenal, and I really urge all of you to do the journals that you have missed. Once our tech platform is ready, the journals will be uploaded, but there will be a small fee to those journals. The proceeds of this fee will be used for giving back to the community. So I urge you to download and do all the journal work now while you can still download it without any cost. Lina, the last thing that I'm curious about before we end the show, does it matter who is doing the sound therapy? Does the energy of the performer or the healer matter to the healing of the individual?
What a brilliant question. It's like asking, does do the hands of the person preparing the food impact what the food tastes like and what it does to the body? And I would kind of guess it probably does. So it's a brilliant question. And a lot of people will say that yes. I mean, the intent of the performer of the sound is important. So it just as it matters, we will vibe with some therapists or healers and not with others. It's almost like that there's a resonant frequency. So the conscious awareness and purpose of the creator of the sound. So what is my intention when I'm creating the sound? Um, that intent that stems from the mind of the creator, um, is a part of the healing circle. Just as we said, does the chef's hands and create, a difference. And we know kind of it does. All sound is vibration and rhythm. But what is the intent behind this energy? There's a book I read by Dr. John Diamond, and he
Okay.
has spent many years demonstrating that not only would just holding certain substances give us energy or rob us of energy. So in his book, The Life Energy of Music, so first he demonstrates, there's a whole thing around kinesiology, that when you hold certain substances that are good for you, your energy shifts. Like if you're holding a cigarette, your energy
Okay.
would have a downward shift, and if you're holding something that's good for you, it'll have an upward shift. So there is a moonshot conversation we'll do around that. But
Mm-hmm.
but just like he demonstrated that holding certain substances gives us or robs us of energy.
Mm-hmm.
In his book, The Life Energy of Music, he also says that the player of the music could do the same thing. That the main
Mm-hmm.
aspect of what makes the music positive and strengthening or negative and weakening depends on the intention of the person creating the music. And this
Mm-hmm.
is why, wait for it, I am super excited. Um, Even you may not know, but I'm super excited to introduce the special guests of our show next week. They're dear friends of mine, and they will demonstrate what the life energy of music means. You will see people live doing this for us. So please join us next week with Drums Shivamani, who will take us from a meditative state of drumming to
Mm-hmm.
who knows where he'll take us, right? If anyone knows how crazy Shivamani is, we don't know where he's going to take us. But his gorgeous wife, with a stunning voice, will demonstrate the power of alap. I'm hoping I'm saying it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Rags as a form of therapy. And then a really dear friend, Ani Choing Drolma.
Mm-hmm.
She's a Himalayan Buddhist nun. She's
Mm-hmm.
going to give you a taste of inner peace only using her voice.
Wow, wow, Lina, that is awesome. In fact, I'm really looking forward to this episode, an episode of live music with people of the purest intention playing for our corroboree. So, see you, friends, on next Sunday on the 6th of September at 5 p.m. India time, when we are live with the beautiful hands of Drum Shivamani and the healing voices of Runa and Ani Cheong Drolma. I will be ready, as you said it, Lina, ready to listen and be open to receive the music without any judgment or preconceived ideas. I will be there fully present, and we look forward to the rest of our corroboree also being there fully present with us.
Yes, and before we go, I'd like to repeat what Agnelorajesh said. Please do not have a mindset that's built around scarcity. The journal that we're offering you is got so much of wealth in it. And yes, it's only going to be live right now, available till our corroboree platform is ready. And then it'll be taken off Facebook and it'll be going onto our corroboree platform. So please, while you have the chance, go from journal 1 to journal, I don't know what episode this is, but journal whatever this episode
11th.
is, 11th episode. Very good. See, structured mindset, non-structured mindset. And please download the journals. And you know what? If you don't have a printer, you don't have to do the journals in the journal. Just keep a notepad beside you,
Yes,
but just
yes.
download the journals and do the work in a notepad, for those of you who don't have a printer. And really look forward to seeing you next Sunday, same time, same place. And thank you, everyone. I'm back home with my mom and dad, who are completely healed. So see you next Sunday.
Thank you, friends. And Lena will be making sure that she responds to every message or question that's asked. And we look forward to meeting you again on next Sunday at 5 p.m. India time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.